Welcome to In the Dark, everyone. Tonight's guest, I have back with us Robin Haynes McCray. She's here telling us about some of the things that have been going on at her house recently. Some pretty crazy stuff. Robin, this is something that she lives with. It's a daily occurrence for her. It's just pretty crazy stuff. Next week, I'm also having world-renowned researcher of Bigfoot and I'm sure other entities, Ron Morehead's going to be here, and I'm real excited to have him. So without further ado, and without spending too much time on the intro here, let's get on with the show.
Hey.
Well, hello.
Hey, babe. How are you?
So we finally hooked up. Thank God.
I know. I can't believe it. I was like, it's been such a long day. And then I was like, oh my God, I want to do this so bad. So
I know. Okay. So where do we start tonight? Let's start.
I don't know. It's been so crazy. Who even knows at this point? Like,
I know. Well,
between the Foots and the ETs and all the craziness that's going on, it's like, where do you even start? I don't even know where to start.
Well, how about with your encounter or the story you told me about being abducted the other night when you were sleeping?
Oh yeah, that was what a mess. I've been taken since I was, well, when I was 4 and I remembered it. They had told me that wasn't the first time even then. And so, it goes on. It's gone on my whole life, like more times than I can count. But I've only had like 2 or 3 times that it actually frightened me. And then once I learned how to fight back, even when I was tranced or in a dream state, the frightening parts didn't happen anymore. And I have no recollection of the tests that they've done on me. I know they've done them because I found marks on me, like from instruments and things. And, they've taken DNA and there's been a lot of things that were done and I knew about them, but I didn't remember like the pain from it. And then the other night, this is altogether different. Like, this is really weird. Pat and I were sitting on the bed. And I had been for like 3 or 4 hours, like I was on edge. I felt like I was going to pop out of my skin. And I'm like waiting for something to come after me. And I was prepared to fight. I mean, I was not like I wasn't. And I'd already been outside and it was very quiet, very still. The Foots were moving around, but they were all the good ones, nothing bad. And Pat and I were sitting on the bed. We were going to watch TV. And all of us, and I told him prior to this, I said, I just feel very hostile right now. I feel very on edge. Like I'm ready to, it's almost like ready to rumble type thing. Yeah. And I'm like, but nothing's going on. And like 10 minutes later, this flash of light flashed in the bedroom. And it was like if somebody were to take a camera and use the flash on you, that instantaneous flash, and then it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did that. And I looked at Pat and I said, what the hell was that? He says, I don't know. So we looked, out the window, didn't see any UFOs. And he's like, do you want me to go out and see if there's anything over the house? And I'm like, no, because it's going to happen anyway. He said, well, then I'm just going to stay awake. And I said, no, you're not. You got to work tomorrow and you can't take time off work. And, he drives, he's a delivery driver for FedEx. So obviously we want to make sure he has plenty of sleep and he's not behind the wheel falling asleep. And I was like, so I need you to go to bed. And he's like, well, I'm not comfortable leaving you awake. And I said, well, there's really nothing you can do anyway, because if they come into the room, I'm just going to blast their asses. Like, I'm not even asking questions at this point. Yeah. And I'm like, it'll be okay. Just go. I really was not anticipating what happened. I was wide awake. Like, I was too antagonistic, I guess, where I couldn't sleep because I just felt like something bad was coming. Yeah. So I laid there and I'm watching TV and I looked at the clock and it was like 1:30, 1:45. And I don't remember anything. I was sitting upright. I mean, I wasn't even laying down. I don't remember anything after that. And when I go to bed at night, as everybody that knows me, I have 2 cell phones because I get a lot of problems from from the government. And so when they go after one of my phones, I have a backup phone for safety purposes. And so I have 2 cell phones that are on the charger and are right directly next to my bed, which is right where my head's at every night. And then I have my tablet, which is right next to that. And then I always take my slippers, and I have this big tower type with drawers in it. And I put my slippers up on that before I go to bed, because I have this absolutely outstandingly gorgeous golden retriever puppy who owns me, and he knows it, but he likes to eat shoes. So he's only 4 months old. So the shoes were up on the tower. And I rolled over, and I just felt like I had been drugged. Like literally, I was so groggy. I looked over to see what time it was. Pat wasn't in bed, but Pat gets up very early. I mean, even before he goes to work. And so I rolled over. Neither one of my phones were there. The tablet was there. The phones were not. So I got up and I went to go get my slippers, and my slippers were gone. And I thought, what is going on? Like, Pat never messes with my phones. I don't mess with his. And this was just bizarre that not one was gone, but both were gone.
Yeah.
So I found one of my slippers, and it looked like it had been tossed across the floor, like if it had fallen off my foot or somebody had thrown it or something. It was just definitely not even where I would have walked had I gotten up to use the restroom, because I have a bathroom that's attached to my bedroom. And I picked that up, and I'm like, where is the other one? And Pat comes in the room, and he's like, hey, are you okay? And I said, yeah, like, why did you take the phones? I couldn't even see what time it was. He said, I didn't take the phones. I found the phones. I said, what do you mean you found them? He said, well, it's on, we had these big drawer things in the bathroom as well. He said, I found it on top of that in the bathroom, both of them. I said, number one, if I got up to use the restroom, I would not have taken 2 cell phones with me in the middle of the night.
Right.
And I said, I would have never put them on there because we have other things stacked on it. And I said, it would have been too easy for him to slide and fall on the ground and broken like that. I've never put them there in my life, let alone take them in the middle of the night to the bathroom. He said, that's where they were at. He said, I thought it was really weird too. So he said, I moved them. He said, they're over here for you. He said, I didn't want to wake you. That's why I didn't put them back over on the side of the bed. But he said, they were, this doesn't make any sense. And I said, no, it doesn't. I said, have you seen my slipper? No, I haven't seen it. And so he walked in the bathroom, and it was sitting in front of the toilet, just like I had been sitting there. There was one slipper there. And the other one I found on the floor outside in the other room. The dogs could not have done it because there's a door going in and out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so bizarre. And he looked at me and said, hey, honey. And I said, yeah. He said, check out your pajamas. I said, I know, I'm wearing pajamas. He's like, no, you really need to check out your pajamas. And I looked at my shirt, and it was fine. I look at my bottoms, and they were on inside out.
That's crazy.
And they were not inside out when I went to bed. Number one, before I went to bed, there's actually these little pockets in them, and I had put a tissue in there. And if they're inside out, you can't have access to it. And the tissue wasn't in there either.
Oh my God.
And I thought, what in the hell? And I felt so groggy. And my phones have not worked correctly since. And now when I send a text message, other things are being sent along with the text messages.
Yeah.
I sent a message to my son-in-law yesterday. It was his birthday. And I said, he was at work, and I said, happy birthday. I love you. And he said, I love you too. And I sent him like a smiley face. And he came home, and he said, Mom, what were all the question marks for? I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, after I told you I loved you, he said, I got all these question marks sent to me. He didn't get the smiley face. He just got a ton of question marks. And I said, I never sent that, Ryan. He said, yeah, you did. And he showed me his phone. So I went and got mine. It wasn't on there either. And this has been going on a lot ever since this happened. And it's random things, sentences that I didn't say.
Yeah.
So far, nothing vulgar, nothing cruel, but things that I did not say are being sent. Today, I could not send a picture anywhere from my phone, from my one phone. The other phone, yesterday was the problem with that one. Yesterday, I couldn't send anything from that one. Today, that one I can send from, and the one I'm speaking with you on, I couldn't today. It's just been really, really freaky. And then right after that happened, I went to get out of bed, and I said to Pat, I said, my whole equilibrium's off.
Yeah.
Like, this is really odd. And this went on for like 2 days. And then I started getting numb on my right side, and I was having a hard time focusing and correlating what I wanted to say. So we went up to ER, and they're like, you have every symptom of a stroke. And they ran a ton of tests, and I'm not having a stroke. They have no idea what in the heck's going on. It's most of it is gone now. It's like once it was acknowledged that it was happening, as severe as it was, it came to a crashing halt. Now I get a little bit of my equilibrium is off, but I'm not doing what I was doing before at all. But it kept up. It did that for 2 or 3 days before I went to the hospital. And it was almost like once it was recognized that I was doing these things, it all stopped, which is even weirder, you know. But a lot of really strange things going on. And like I said, now all this problems with both of the phones. And then my on the one phone, the protector for the phone, it was damaged. The other one is completely scratched up.
Oh, that's so weird.
I mean, it's just absolutely.
It sounds so bizarre. And then didn't you have a dream too? Was there something that happened with a dream the other night?
I'm having a lot of very strange dreams, where I know it's very obviously ET and government. And the thing when you have a dream, and if you really want to know if it's an ET or not, is they can imitate what a person looks like. They can imitate the movements. They suck at the voices. They don't do well at imitating voices. And so what happens, you get them in these dream states or in a dream or even outside. I mean, this has happened also, when I was awake, where they either won't look at you when they're talking, or it's very, very short sentences. They're not very elaborate, and it doesn't sound 100% correct.
Right.
But I'm getting all these wacky dreams that make no sense. And then what made it even crazier, and this guy I haven't talked to since this happened. Pat and I were watching a movie, and he had went to bed. This was probably like 3 or 4 days ago. And for some reason, I just felt like I was supposed to be awake. I knew I was supposed to be awake. And I was like, okay, either the Foots want something or somebody wants something or something's going to happen. I didn't feel agitated. I felt fine. I just had this knowing that I was supposed to stay awake. So I'm sitting watching TV, and I was watching a movie, and I got done with that. And I'm looking for another movie to watch. And I use a lot of the streaming services, and I'm looking, and this movie popped up, and it was talking about alien abductions and people that had them. And it said Answers. It was called The Answers. And I started to go by it, and it kept popping back up on the tablet. Every time I'd go by it, it would pop back up. And I was like, okay, obviously I'm supposed to watch this. And I heard a voice, and it did not sound real familiar to me, but I heard something say, you need to watch this. You need to watch it. All right, fine. So I click on it. I purchased or rent this stupid thing, and I put it on. I like to point out I still have not watched it. But as it came on, and this is where it gets freaky, the very first person that came on there started talking about this big flash of light that flashed into her window.
Oh my gosh.
As soon as that happened, I started having flashbacks of memory. I never got a chance to watch the rest of it. It was very odd after that, because and I don't remember a lot, and I will tell you what I remember, but it was very odd because it was just like this, somebody sucker punched me. And then after that, I would try to watch the rest of the show, and I would be watching it, but yet in my brain, it was like everything was scrambled. Like I couldn't even understand what they were talking about. The voices didn't sound right. Everything was just discombobulated. So I shut it off, and I didn't want to wake Pat up because he needed rest. My daughter was awake and had just gone to bed. It was like, again, we're back to the 2 a.m. Everything happens to me between 1:30 and 3:30. And she had just gone to bed, and I thought, I'm not going to call and tell her what's going on because I don't want to freak her out, let her sleep. So I just stayed there, and I was obviously upset. I wasn't, I'm not afraid. It was more a panic attack type thing, but yet I was like starting to, but I wasn't really completely reacting to it. So I went and I watched another movie, and Pat happened to wake up very shortly after this happened. And I was like very calm. And I'm like, well, I need to tell you something happened. And he's like, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah. I started to tell him, and I'm telling you what, I could not catch my breath. I was hyperventilating. I was crying, but not really full-fledged crying. And I'm like, I just kept saying the same thing over and over again. I can see him. I can see him. I can see him. They're standing at the end of the bed. Now, I've been wide awake when I've had him come and stand next to the bed. Okay. And I've never reacted in my life like that, like never. And
Wow.
oh my God, they're standing there. They're standing there. I can see him. I can see him. And he's like, are you all right? And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. But I'm hyperventilating.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not hurting me. They don't have bad energy. They don't feel like they're trying to hurt me. What I basically saw were between 4 to 5 feet in height, closer to 5 feet, very thin, very skinny, long arms, long
Ugh,
fingers, the pear-shaped head. And I could see it was all, they were shadowed out in black. Like
right.
I couldn't really see features, but it wasn't like a shadow figure. It was a solid mass. And I
Mm-hmm.
could see the dark eyes that were darker than the dark of the body. I mean, it was just like something didn't want me to see what
Mm-hmm.
they looked like, but yet I could see that they were solid. And so I'm telling him this.
Sounds so freaky to me. It just, oh
Yeah.
God.
And I'm, oh my God, oh my God. And he's like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then after I got that out, I was like, okay, I'm composed now. I'm a little shaky, but I'm okay. And I said to Pat, I said, ever since that happened, when it did happen originally, I didn't sleep for days after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like me. Like usually, this kind of stuff goes on and I go about my business the next day. And I kept telling him, I said, this doesn't make sense to me because I don't feel frightened. I don't feel fear. I mean, I don't want to be their best buddies and sing around the campfire with them, but I don't feel like I'm afraid. I just feel like I'm having a panic attack all the time. And like I would go to sleep. I wouldn't even take a Tylenol because I was like, I don't want anything that's going to knock me out. I don't want anything that's going to knock me out. And I, I have every arthritis that there is, plus I have fibro and osteoporosis and all these other things that cause an excessive amount of pain. And I wouldn't even take gabapentin because I'm like, I don't want anything that's going to knock me out. So like now I'm
Yeah.
really miserable because I'm hurting. I wouldn't even take anything because I thought I wouldn't take a Benadryl for my
Yeah.
allergies because I didn't want anything that was going to knock me out. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be knocked out. If they come back, I need to be ready to do serious damage at this point. Now I'm freaking pissed. And so then this happened and I had talked to Pat and Pat had just gone to bed and I thought, I'm going to watch this movie. Like I missed it the night that this happened. So I
Mm-hmm.
go back to watch it. I've tried to watch this movie 3 or 4 times. That flash of light that I saw that triggered the memory isn't in the movie. Like when I watched it, it was the very
What?
first person on the movie. Yeah, it was the very first person on the movie. Pat and I both have turned it on, and neither one of us have been able to find it. And I still cannot watch the movie. Every time I try to watch it, it's like I hear all these crazy noises in my head, and everything seems out of context. And even to watch it, it's like it's all scrambled, and it only happens when I watch the show.
God, Robin, this sounds so crazy. Do you think something happened when you were starting to watch it that they might have returned? Or there was like another abduction? Or
I
do you
don't
know
think
what I
so because, yeah, no, I don't think they came back and took me. I think they wanted me to know that they were there because the vibe I got off of them wasn't
Okay.
negative. I mean, I don't think that they wanted to come and be my friend, and go do each other's hair. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what they wanted. Now, we did ask the Bigfoots what happened after it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they said the same thing I always get, they're looking for information or they're something that I have. I don't know what it is. Like they've been after me for stuff that I have for
Yeah. Yeah.
decades. And the only thing I do know is that they think I have information, and apparently I do, but I don't even have any way to access it. Whatever it is, it's in my head. And the only thing the Foots have told me is I'll remember it when I'm supposed to.
Do you
When
think
I
it's
need
about
it,
the Foots or the Dogmen or something?
I have
Or
not
do
a clue. No clue whatsoever. I know that when I've been told that before, like the Bigfoots would send me on different jobs to do things. and they'd say, we want you to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, that would be great. But in some, somebody needs to give me like an owner's manual or something, because I don't know how to do that. And they're like, just go there, it'll happen. And then when it's time to happen, it's like, oh, wow, cool. Look at now a new trick, I can do this. And so they just keep saying over and over again that, when the time comes and I'm supposed to have it, or when I need it, I'll be able to access it. They don't want me to have a lot of stuff before I'm supposed to, because everything is telepathic. So once they get something, then everything has it.
Right.
So that has a lot to do with it. But, I said, where the hell were the guards? Like, I have guards all over this place. Like, I do. I've got a werewolf across the driveway. I've got Dogmen here. I've got Foots all over the place. And I'm like, where the hell were the guards? Like, this should have never happened. But what I've learned, because they don't come in physical form. Like, I have an energy wall around me, and it's literally fried stuff that's tried to get on the property that's not good. And it's been very successful for the people that I've put them around. It's always worked. So far, I always say eventually something's going to find its way around it. So far, nothing has. Knock on wood, and thank you, God. But my understanding is, and we had suspected this before, this wasn't the first time this had come up. And I got confirmation from some contacts that I have that they actually can do that. They basically, it's almost like it looks real, it looks solid, but it's basically like a hologram, and they can do anything they want to when they're in that way, because there's nothing to fry, there's nothing to kill.
Yeah, you were telling me about this. I'm still trying to grasp this, like how they do, like how they actually are able to affect you through that form. Like that's wild. I don't get it. I don't get it.
But they do. And I've worked on several cases of other people that's happened with as well. We've known that this was something that we believe to be true for quite some time. But never has it been to this effect. And so then I said to the Foots, okay, where are the guards? Like, I want to know what in the hell, where's the breach at? What's going on? And they're like, we saw nothing out here. Wow. We saw no ships. We saw nothing. And by the time they realized what was going on, it was over and done with.
So are they spiritual, do you think? Is that what they are?
No,
or is it
these
else?
ETs, no, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of ETs that are good. And I think that it's been proven time and time again that they have helped us at various times, whether it's been to stop a nuclear warhead, or whatever. I do believe that there are several that are good, but like everything else, there's good and bad, so.
Yeah. I just wondered if some were, if you thought, like when you said they didn't come in the physical and they came like as a hologram, is that like another way of saying they came like in a spiritual realm or form?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm being honest. I don't know 100%. Do I think that that's what it is? No. I think what they do, they literally, they have a couple different ways to do things. Like, they can send these things in, and they've done this, and I've witnessed this, as well as countless others have witnessed this with the Bigfoots. When they were trying to catch, the bad ones were trying to get hold of the Bigfoots, they were dropping off these things that looked like a real Bigfoot that weren't. They're actually a robotic one. Wow. And they were really bad. And I wasn't the only one that saw them. And I've talked to countless other people that have seen them as well. And they're very dangerous, very, very dangerous. But they also can't mind speak. They also don't have paranormal abilities. But they look the part.
Right.
They also can't speak.
Enough.
Yeah. So then, you have these things, and they can come in a hologram form. They can come in a robotic form, and they aren't detectable because they don't really have what you would call an energy signature. The other thing, the Foots didn't see a thing until after it was over. And normally the ones that are the closest with me, they don't go anywhere. Now the other possibility is their diversion, because I didn't pick up even the Foots out where they normally are that night. One or two, but not what I normally have here on any given day. And my other thought is, was there a diversion set up so that they all went there? The one I'm closest to said not really a diversion, but they were not all here. So there's something that went on that night. And it's just gotten really crazy. It's gotten very heated up. yeah, I don't know. And I've been getting harassed ever since with this stuff. So I don't understand. I mean, I know they think that I have access to what they want. I
Right.
don't. I don't. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Even if I did have access to it, they wouldn't be getting it.
Right.
So
Right.
they had
Yeah.
tried one other time to get it from me, and this was quite a while ago, and they were actually in physical form, and I was in the process of putting the energy well up. And the problem is I get, and I'm really bad at this, really, really bad. I get so busy helping people. And it's not that I think that, I can't be taken out or that I'm invincible, because that's not it at all. Any of us can be taken out at any given time. But I get
Mhm.
busy helping everybody else, and I forget about here. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really bad. It really is. And I kept going, yeah, I've been cleaning the property as far as pushing good energy in it. And I need to get the wall done and the bubble done and all this stuff. And I hadn't gotten around to finishing it. And that was just my own fault. And they got in, and, they were next to the bed. And we had talked about this before, and they put this thing on my head, and whatever they wanted out of my head, my understanding is they did not get it.
Right.
So that was a good thing. But
Gosh.
it's just crazy. And I know the wall works because when they were here in December in physical form, there's 3 of them out on the side of the house. They couldn't get through the wall. It kept zapping them until I finally zapped them. I had one that took off, and that little bugger got away, but the other 2 got toasted and melted. But, but, so I know it works. So whatever these things were that they sent in here, they were not any type of a living thing. Like, I don't
Mhm.
understand it. The other thing that I found was really odd is the night that I had that flashback. Pat and I stayed up and talked about it for quite a while until I felt comfortable, and he said, "Well, I'll stay up all night." And I'm like, "No, I want you to go back to bed. I'm fine now. I needed that breakdown, and now I'm good."
Right.
And it wasn't even a lot of crying. It was a little bit, but not a lot. It was more like a hyperventilation, which I did that one other time too. They had tranced me. They had taken me for an hour and 45 minutes, and it took 3 days for the trance to wear off. And when it did, I did that hyperventilating like that. But this
I
one I
wonder if
didn't.
you're remembering stuff they did do, not remembering, but if it's in your psyche somewhere that
Oh, I'm sure it
some of the
is.
stuff they did, and that's what's
100%
causing it.
sure. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But now this time,
Sorry, everybody.
um,
Robin has a bird, and you can hear the
I'm
bird.
sorry. I would love to tell you I can make him be quiet, but Nico doesn't.
No, it's
He
okay.
loves to talk on the phone, you guys. I'm
Great.
so sorry. He sees the phone, and he
This is
just won't
awesome.
shut up when he sees it. So, and I'm afraid if I get up and go over there to try to even cover him up, he's just going to scream
Oh
louder.
my gosh, he's so loud.
Oh, he's such a little twerp is what he
I
is.
know he is. Yeah.
I love him to death, but he's a little nutbag is what he is. He used to talk on the phone when my husband moved down to South Carolina. He got a job, and he came down first before I did, and my
Wow.
daughter and all the
Yeah.
animals, because we had all the animals. And my other daughter lived on base, and I couldn't take all the animals to her house because she
Mm-hmm.
lived on the military base, and Pat was staying there. So he came down when we got here and went to work until we could get us down here. We had to find a place to live. And so he would talk to the bird on video chat because the bird is obsessed with Pat.
Oh
And
no.
so he would video chat with the bird. And all he knows is every time he sees the phone, he can
Yeah.
talk to somebody on it. He
He
loves it.
thinks
But
great.
anyway, what I was going to tell you is after Pat went to bed that night, when I had that flashback, I went and I tried to watch the movie again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was like, oh my God, there's no flash of light on that. Like, there is none. In fact, the first one wasn't even a woman, it was a man. And nothing looked familiar. Like, it was just craziness. And so I did let it play through the whole thing. And none of it made any sense, but there was never one that had a flash of light on it. So I don't understand why that showed on there when it did, but it did. But anyway, as I was sitting there, letting this play through, trying to figure out, I mean, I only went like 3 minutes into the movie when
Mm-hmm.
that flash hit. So, and yet it was nowhere in this hour movie. But I'm sitting there and I had another memory. And it was very, not really just, I don't want to say disturbing. It was very odd because the one slipper was found in front of the toilet. Like I had been sitting on the toilet, as gross as that sounds. And the slipper was right there. And as I'm remembering the second memory, one came out of the bathroom. That's what the memory was. He came out of the bathroom and then he took his hand and it's like he swiped it in front of him. And when he did, my floor glowed, and where it was at, it showed, and they again were black, just like they were, these circles. And it literally looked like planets. And it went like a bigger one, and then next to it, like was downsizing all the way down, and it went just like a tail would. It went straight, and then it had a little bit of a flip at the end of it, and to the tiniest one. It was very odd. I don't have any idea what it means. No, none whatsoever, because it was just like he swushed his hand forward, and then there it was.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the thing that was so bizarre is where that was at on my carpet was directly after where the other slipper was found.
That's so crazy.
It really was. And the other thing was, you know, all of the electronics had been plugged in. And when I unplug them every morning, when I unplug them, I take the cords and I flip them backwards because puppy, you know, eats the cords. So, and these were all hanging down.
Right.
But it was, oh my God, a good week before I slept. I mean, I wasn't sleeping more than an hour to an hour and a half at night. And then when it got 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, then all of a sudden I could sleep for another 2 hours. And then I was up. And I was like, I told Pat, I said, I feel like I'm never going to sleep again. And I have no idea why. Like, I'm not upset. I'm not stressed. I'm not panicked. I'm not frightened. I just am not able to go to sleep. And I would not take anything. I wouldn't take anything for allergies. I wouldn't take, and I don't take a lot of pain pills. I don't. Gabapentin, which is a pain medication, and as often as I'm supposed to. And I don't even keep pain meds. I don't, because when they were prescribing them for me, I never wanted to get addicted to them. I was always real careful with them. But one prescription for it would last me a year because I just would never take them because they're not effective on me. They don't help. So if I'm not going to get any relief from them, why am I taking them? You know,
I think they give just because they knock people out, you know?
Yeah. And see, they don't do that for me at all. I have a totally bizarre tolerance for all meds. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, you have to hit me with enough for a horse. I don't care if it's an antibiotic. I don't care if it's Tylenol. It doesn't matter. Like, what a normal person can take and what is necessary for me to take are two different things. It's just it's been really weird. Really weird.
I think that the anxiety and the not sleeping, I think it's trauma. There's something that it's in your psyche somewhere that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I told Pat,
you're remembering stuff that, and like, you're not remembering, but it's there. It's still there.
And the thing of it is all of the abductions, like with both hands and both feet, I would still need more body parts to count the times I've been taken and the things that have been done. And, there's only been 2 or 3 that were really, really frightening. But even those did not affect me as this did. Yeah. And again, I still don't feel fear. What am I going to be afraid of? I don't remember anything that was frightening, but obviously there was trauma done when they took me this time. And then the other thing was, first the pants are on, inside out. And the next night I told Pat, I said, I haven't found one mark on me, not one mark on me. And he said, well, turn around. Cause I said, I can't see everything. And he found the typical triangular mark on right on my buttocks. Yeah. And then, no, I'm not kidding. There was a bruise there and then the triangular. And then, was it 3 nights ago? 3 nights ago, I was laying there. And this is the other weird one. I'm laying there and I had fallen asleep. I absolutely knew I was asleep. And it was like I was asleep, but I was watching something play out. And
Mhm.
I watched my bedroom door open, and this man, it looked like a human man, which doesn't mean it was, because he never spoke and he was very stiff in movement.
Mhm.
Probably like 6'2", 6'4", heavy set, white t-shirt. He had brownish color pants, black leather belt. Walked into my room, and out of the clear blue sky, he just hit me on my leg. And it was with such force, I screamed because it hurt. It was very painful.
Right.
And then before I woke up, I watched him walk out, go out my front door, and get in this white van and drive away. And then as soon as I saw him drive away, it's like I woke up like you shot me out of a cannon. And my lip was busted open and it was
Yeah.
puffy. And I thought, what in the Sam hell just happened? And I thought, well, my lip is busted up. So why is my lip busted up? I never thought to go in and take my pants down and look at my leg. My leg was sore. It felt sore, like it felt like something, like somebody had just sucker punched it. But my lip was swelled up.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, this is so bizarre. Now, is it possible when this happened, I bit my lip because it startled me so badly? That's possible because I don't remember ever getting hit in the face. I only remember getting hit in the leg. But then I jumped up and I ran to the window and I did see taillights going down the road, but that doesn't mean that it had any connection with it at all.
Right. Right.
So that was just taillights. I didn't see what it was or the vehicle or anything. It doesn't mean it had any connection to this at all. So that afternoon, I had been outside in doing some stuff outside and it was all hot and sweaty. So I came in and thought, well, I'm going to take my bath early. My mouth, because one thing I hate getting sticky and sweaty. It just grosses me out. I can't stand the feel of it, let alone the
Yeah,
smell
me
of it.
neither. Yeah.
So I went and I got in the bathtub and I looked down and there is this humongous bruise on my leg, exactly where this happened. This thing was the size of my whole hand and it was just as black and blue as purple as can be.
What?
And I'm like, okay, now this is no longer a bad dream. Like, what in the name of heavens is going on here? So
Yeah.
Pat got home from work and I said, you aren't going to believe this shit. He's like, what? And because I hadn't told him about the dream that night, because by the time he got up for work, I was back in bed and sleeping. And I said, check this out. I showed him my leg. He said, what the hell happened? And I told him, he said, this is getting weirder all the time. I said, I know. Like, and I wasn't even frightened when it happened. It was just like I watched this person come in, just kaboom on my leg, and then he's gone. And then here we go.
Why though? Why
But
did he hit your leg though? Like
I have no idea. No idea. I do know that not only the ETs, but other factions that I'm not going to name because I get in enough trouble, do have the ability to manipulate energy and manipulate things so that you think things have happened and they
Mm-hmm.
can do physical damage. And that's possible what's going on. Do I have any proof of it? I don't have proof of any of this other than marks all over my body.
Right.
And it's like I wake up and I've got bruises all over my arms. So it's been really intense on that front the last couple of weeks. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. I really don't. The foots have been really good. I was doing some work with a friend of mine and some other people that Pat and I do work with on all of these things. And we walked out in the backyard and I was on speakerphone because we were doing a conference call with everybody. And so I had my phone on speaker so Pat and I could both talk to him in here. And I had to go bring the dogs in. And so we walked outside to bring the dogs in. And I look out in the backyard and there's no breeze. I mean, I live in South Carolina. We live on the sun. It's just ridiculous. There's no breeze whatsoever. And out in the middle of the woods, literally, this tree is being shook back and forth and back and forth. It was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was just shaking and shaking and shaking. And then it looked like something silver was back there. And I thought, what
Oh
in the
my
world? I
gosh.
don't know if it was something shiny they had. I have no idea. So we went ahead and finished our conversation and came in, and Pat and I went out there and took these photos. Every photo I took was erased from my phone.
You're
Pat,
kidding
however,
me, Robin.
I'm not kidding. And Pat took the same photos that I took, and he got one. In fact, I think Tracy, I sent that one to you. It looks like on the left hand side, if you're looking at the picture on the
Yeah.
left hand, it looks like a Bigfoot sitting, only
Right.
it's left off the ground. And then on
Yeah.
the right side, in front of a tree, it has the head of a dogman, but the spindly looking little body. I mean, it's just crazy.
It
It's like,
doesn't
oh,
look near as tall.
no,
It's shorter.
yeah. But everybody's getting along. I haven't gotten any negativity. I haven't picked up any negative energies. Everybody's been being really good. Running around outside the window at night. I've caught different flashes of them outside. Um, yeah, it's been very peaceful other than these attacks on me. And it's like,
I love you. You're like, it's been very peaceful other than like the complete trauma I've been going through the past, couple weeks.
no, but it's
Like,
not coming from the cryptids.
yeah, I know what you mean.
And,
I'm just kidding with you.
and that will be dealt with because I'm mad as hell right now because it's like something
It's
is
just, I don't understand how these beings, whether they're good or evil, how they feel they have the right to come in and steal from us, abduct us. I mean, they just do whatever the hell they want to do. And
well,
it's just crazy.
in all fairness, our government has signed 2 treaties with them giving them permission to abduct us.
But we didn't sign those treaties. The government
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
own us.
But the government
They seem to
represents
think,
us.
oh my God, it's crazy,
I
Robin.
know it's wrong.
I mean,
It's
it's like,
100%
holy
wrong.
crap,
I'm not.
half
No,
these
and I'm
officials
not.
that are in office we don't even vote for. Like half of us don't even vote for them,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
I'm not defending them in any way. I'm just saying that
Ugh,
in their culture, in their world,
I know. I
they
know.
have that permission, and it's like, thank you for selling us off. Let you get your asses handed to you.
Jesus
So how you
Christ.
feel? I mean, at least let me be awake so I can knock the shit out of something. I mean,
I
this is
I just don't
ridiculous.
understand how we have political leaders in office that we vote in, or half of us don't vote for these people and they get in. And then these people, these entities go to these people and act like they own us, like
Mhm.
we're their personal property to do this.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
have that right. They were
I
never given that right,
No, and I
you
will say
know?
this, I've never, and I've been doing this since I was little. Like I was doing energy work and I didn't even know that's what I was doing. It was just part of who I was. But I've never had anything like go on. I mean, I've had bad attacks. I've been put in intensive care before.
Yeah.
Um, but I've not had what I've had the last 2 weeks. And the thing that is so weird about it is, you know, the energy coming off of these things has not, other than the one the other night when my leg got hit, that definitely felt bad. Even before the hit, I mean, just whatever the hell that was, it had negative energy. But prior to that, when I was taken, you're talking, I was taken. The last time I saw the clock was like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and it was like 5:45, 6 o'clock. So it was quite a while. They had me gone,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I have not had this situation to this where I felt as traumatized with it. I mean,
Hmm.
I've had worse abductions, 100% worse abductions, but I've not felt the trauma that I felt with this one,
Right.
which is
Right.
really bizarre. And when we asked, when we asked about it, and I did call on some of the ETs that I know are good, and some of the foots, and they said that they didn't harm me. It was not about harming me. It was about trying to get something from me. And I'm like, okay, but what is it they're getting? And they said, we're not going to tell you what they're looking for because then you're in even more danger. And I'm like, well, I get that. But, it's getting ridiculous. Like, I agree with what they're saying because I know how
Yeah.
all this works and that makes perfect sense. But it's just frustrating. I mean, even
But
if I knew what it
but
was, I wouldn't give it to them. But I don't, it's too much of a risk for me to know because they could do anything they wanted to me until I would cave. I simply don't know. Like right now, I don't know.
it is really bizarre though that they don't just first ask, and just say, they
Well,
can even make it like a light conversation and act like it isn't a big deal and see if you'd offer the
well,
information.
they
So
have
they,
no, but I've had various races ask me before. They said, we need the information you have. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're
well,
talking
what?
about. So,
Yeah,
let me go talk to the wall because it's going to give you about as much info because I don't know what the hell it is you're looking for.
maybe it's
And
something from a
they aren't
past life.
specific. It's possible. Now this particular one, when we asked the foots, was it information? And he said, no, this is something they think you have possession of. So at some point in time, my guess is when things like that happen, I will end up with the possession of whatever it is they're looking for because I ran across that before too. But whatever it is, I don't have it. Like,
But you don't have
they're
it
welcome.
yet. Maybe you don't have it yet, and they think you
No,
do.
but no, they think I do now, and I don't. At some point in time, I'm sure that I will, but I don't have it at
Wow.
this point in time. I have a very dear friend of mine that has had problems with ETs for years, and they thought she had something. And
Mhm.
she's like, I don't know what the hell they want. And this has gone on for years. And finally I asked them, I said, what do you think you're going to get? And they showed me this device. And so I
Wow.
drew it out and I sent it to her. And she's like, oh my God, I found that in my garage. I'm like, are
Wow.
you kidding? She says, yeah. She said, I had no idea what it was. It wasn't mine. And I said, well, do you still have it? That's what they're looking for. She said, well, good luck. She said, I cleaned the garage out and threw everything in a dumpster. It's already been dumped out in landfill. I don't
You're
have it,
kidding.
Yeah. But I mean, it was very odd because they showed me what it was and I sent her the picture and she's like, I
How did
saw
they
that.
how'd they even know that she was the one who possessed it?
I have no idea. I
That's what
honestly
I'd
don't.
like to know.
I don't know. And like I said, it wasn't hers. I mean, she didn't even know why she had it or
Yeah.
anything about it. It was just really bizarre. The whole thing was
Like, was
bizarre.
something watching her pick it up, or, like from whatever dimension?
The only reason she found it was because she was cleaning out her garage and she's like, I don't know what the hell this is. And she thought possibly it was a tool from her late husband, you know,
Right.
and she's like, I don't know what the heck it is. I don't have any use for it. So she pitched it. I mean, that was the whole purpose of cleaning the garage. So yeah,
Yeah.
crazy
Hope
stuff
they
like
had
that
fun
goes
in the
on all the
landfill
time.
trying to find that then.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
And it's
But
so
I
weird,
mean,
guys, because like these stories, like you hear people talk about this stuff, and some of this stuff, like you're just like, it's so far-fetched sounding. And then you hear like hundreds of other people, like their encounters
yeah,
that corroborate so like the same stuff. And you're like, oh, it's just like Nick. I was interviewing Nick last week and he said, is everybody lying? He's like, are all these hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people across the entire globe, are they all making this up?
right.
And I'm
Well, this
like,
is what
no,
here's what I
you
tell
know?
everybody. Number one, okay, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg together couldn't make up what goes on in my life. Okay. And I totally could not come up with it.
Hmm.
Do I expect everybody to believe me? Of course not. I mean, I have a hard time accepting a lot of this stuff and I live it, you
I
know.
like that one guy you told me a few days ago that he said something like he really loved you, but he thought you were batshit
He is
crazy.
a
But
very dear friend of mine. Yeah, he's a very dear friend of mine, Chad. God, I love him. He's just the best. And he's so
yeah,
kind to me. And he's like, you are batshit crazy, but you're a good batshit crazy because you're just crazy enough to where you make me believe you. I'm like, okay. And I don't even think he believes me in everything, but he's very open.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't think, I think, and that's the main thing. Like, I don't ask everybody to, like, what is this expression, swallow the Kool-Aid, I guess it is.
yeah.
I
I
don't
know.
drink Kool-Aid, and I don't. And a lot of times I tell people, you know, you should question everything. You really should.
Yeah.
Now, I
I
know,
know how some of this sounds to people, and I know that, like, if especially if you're people that don't really know a lot about this yet, or you haven't gone as far down the rabbit hole as
mhm,
some of the rest of us have, or been exposed to this since you were a kid, like we both have, that you just coming into it, you're like, oh my God, this sounds nuts. I'm like, no,
right.
it's really not nuts. Like, these are really experiences that
Yeah.
people are having.
Well,
you know
again, like I tell people, you don't have to believe me. I'm okay.
hmm
Not that you need my permission not to believe me, but I'm okay with that. All I can do is tell my experiences. These things go on around me and there's multiple people with me. It's not like I'm the only one that knows of them, experiences them. Like Pat was there when the light flashed,
yeah,
and all these various things happen. But, and with the cryptids and all that, I've got witness to all this. I've got photos to all this stuff.
I know, I see them.
Yeah. So, but I'm okay because all I can do is say what my experiences are. What anybody does with it is entirely up to them. But I am all for question what you're told. You
Hmm.
should, because there are a lot of hoaxers out there. I can go to my grave and I know I'm right with God when I say that I'm not hoaxing. So I'm okay with that. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of hoaxers out there. And so you should question, but you can question things and be respectful. and carry on a conversation about it. I've talked to multiple people that, I mean, I've had the haters come at me, obviously on Facebook, and that's okay. But I don't waste my time. Once they get hating, I refuse to live my life with hate. So I just delete the post and move on to my life. But I've also had people leave you for this, this, and this. And I'm like, and that's perfectly fine. You are well within your right. But this is what I've experienced. This is why I believe what I do. And you can have that meeting of the minds and not have them agree and be perfectly fine with it. Like, I know I am.
Listen, I've had, even a couple comments and reviews on the podcast that I do. And I'm like, listen, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to make this into some professional, entertainment production. This is simply a podcast to get information out to people. That's it.
Exactly. And I
we're
always
not
tell
here
everybody,
for entertainment purposes,
no. And I tell everybody that I was not put on this planet or in this world to prove anything to anybody. I spent, I want to say 75% of my life nice and quiet by myself, experiencing all these things. I went to Siberia. I came back. I did one conference and then I called it quits. And I just went ahead and went out in the woods with my foots and dealt with that and the ETs and the Dogmen and all these other things. And I was very content that way. I would not have come back out except the foots asked me to. They wanted people to know they weren't monsters, and they wanted me to talk about it. And they wanted me to talk about them being a people and their language and their culture and their ways and that type of thing. And that was why I came out. And then once I came out, all these other things, anybody that's really into the Bigfoot research, once you get on the right path, I'm not saying the wrong path, I'm saying the right path, all these other avenues of all these other things open up. It's a rabbit. It's a rabbit hole. And if you're not on the right path, you don't encounter all of these things because you're not where you're supposed to be.
Right.
And so that's where the difference is. Because I know people that still believe that they're the animals or they're monsters. And like, I don't experience any of this. That's right, because you're not on the right path. Once you get what they really are, the rest of it follows suit. But that's okay because you're not supposed to be there yet. And everybody comes to it in their own time, but everybody has a right to the information. And I'm a person that believes that knowledge is power. And without us having knowledge, how can we determine anything? It's like with all these disclosures and everything, these disclosures are a bunch of crap because they're never going to tell us what all they need to tell us.
No.
I think the whistleblowers, I think it's great that they're bringing forth information, but if they were bringing forth information the government didn't want out, they'd have killed them. They wouldn't be alive right now. So I think it's, like a soft disclosure, which is just enough to confirm a few things that we may or may not know and to shut us up, really. And there's so much other things that I think we all have a God-given right to know. I understand they don't want mass panic, but the reason there's mass panic is because we've been kept in the dark.
Yeah.
That's and
name of my channel, In the Dark.
Yeah. And it's like, they're not going to protect us from these things because the truth is they can't. They really can't. And it's not that, that's not a negative thing on the government. It's a matter of they simply can't. These things, whether it's the cryptids, the ETs, whatever, they have such a leg up on us as far as the abilities that the government can't protect us. But
that's exactly it too. They can't.
It is.
These are entities that have, powers and abilities that it's just so out of their league, and they just don't even want to.
Well, and the government has traded with them for years. We have them working in the government. So it's not that they're not, but the thing of it is if anybody believes for 1 second that they're going to tell the government, or us for that matter, all their secrets on how to do everything, they are so sadly mistaken, because they're going to make sure no matter what they tell us, they can outdo it if it comes down to they're threatened.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I don't blame them for that. I mean, their survival counts on it. And there are a lot of them that are good. They're not all bad. I've had several contact with different ones, and whether I know really what their race is or not. I'm one of these people where I don't think to ask them. Pat's always, well, did you ask them their name? Did you ask them the race? No, I really didn't.
Yeah.
I should, but I don't. And And they're okay. And have I, done any work on them? Yes, I've healed a couple ETs in my time. And I had one that during Beltane that actually got left. And my daughter was in the bedroom across the hall, and she has a lot of abilities that she doesn't want to tap into, and that's okay. But she was laying there watching TV, and she looked over, and there are these 4 people standing next to her bed talking to her. And she was like, didn't know what the heck to say. And she looked at them and she said, my mom's across the hall. So they never did come to me. I don't know what they wanted, but they didn't come to me.
When was that, Robin? Was that recent?
Oh, this was years ago. She was just a kid at the time. And her and I were the only ones home. And so she came over and she said, Mom. And I said, what's the matter? She said, what's going on? I said, well, it's Beltane. It gets kind of wild. So she stayed in my room, and we watched this floating head go across the room. And she was like, oh my God. And there's this little globby looking ET dude thing. I don't know what he was, but he was out there and he was just having a fit. He was on our deck, and we had this huge deck, running back and forth on the deck, running back and forth. And I said, what's the matter? And he said, and I didn't even go to the window where he was, because I thought, I don't know what he can do. He feels perfectly good, but you never know. So I stayed in. I mean, I could see him, but I was in my room. And I said, what's the matter? And he says, they left me. I'm frightened. He said, he was talking about some weird name that I don't know what it was. And he said, they'll kill me if I'm found. And I said, you don't have to worry about it. Just stay up here by the door. Nothing can get you while they're here, because I had this energy bubble, at that house. And I have one here now too. And obviously he was good, or he couldn't have got on the property. So he was there. I don't know when he left, but he was gone by morning.
Oh God.
And I asked,
cute, but
yeah, and I called out and I said, are you okay? He said, yeah, they came back for me. I was like, okay, cool. But yeah.
Didn't your daughter have something happen? Maybe I'm wrong about this. I thought you told me there was something that happened with her recently.
Yeah, we had 3 of them show up here, and that were trying to physically hurt her.
Hey everyone, I will be back to the show in a brief moment. Hi everyone. If you're new to podcasting or interested in starting a new podcast, let me tell you a little bit about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. And when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So for the brand new podcaster, that is a plus. So check it out. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That's F as in Frank, M as in Mary, to get started.
I was listening to this near-death experience the other night, and I want to read it on, one of my podcasts at some point, because like I said, this channel is, it's to share information, and sometimes I'll have guests on, other times I might talk about something that I learned, something I heard. So yeah, there's times that you do repeat things, because you're passing on the whole thing that you're learning.
But see, this is why your show is so important, because this information needs to get out. People need to, even if they're not going to believe it,
right?
They deserve to at least be given the information for them to decide what they choose.
Exactly.
That's what's important.
Yeah, this near-death experience was talking about this person went to heaven. She had died, and I believe she was an atheist. And I might be getting this wrong because there was a couple of them, but I'm gonna read these on one of my podcasts. But she said that she had seen God had explained to her like this ripple effect that had happened from the wars there were 3 wars that took place in heaven to overthrow Lucifer. And he said that it had a ripple effect all through the universe that we're still feeling today. And that Lucifer had incorporated beings from other worlds.
Oh, wow.
To his battle. And I thought, wow, that was really profound to me. I was like,
I believe that.
Holy
I believe
crap.
that to be true. Just from different situations that have gone on with people that I know of. And in different things that, I've worked on. I would believe that to be true. Yeah.
Just crazy. But you think, okay, so then, we know of God as being the creator of all things in our universe, but what else is there out there that God didn't create, and that he has many enemies? She said that she was shown that he has many enemies, but he is, out of all of the beings in the whole, all of the worlds, that he is the one that's the most powerful. And he had given Lucifer a lot of none of the other angels had, that he had trusted him, and he had bestowed upon him certain powers that were really great that he wouldn't give to anybody else. And over time, Lucifer had he had rebelled over. It was like a progression. It wasn't something where he just went in one day and decided he didn't want to serve God. It was like this gradual process of him doing things, and then it just built and built and built, and it got to the point where these were just absolute horrible crimes that he was committing that God had found out about in the end. But it was like, you have to hear this. This was really fascinating. I was like, wow. And I tend to, you have to really listen when people are having experiences that go kind of against what you've been taught. Just like I had mentioned, a past life. I'm a Christian. I believe in God, but I also believe that there's a lot we haven't been told. And so I keep an open mind with stuff like that, because there is a possibility that could be possible. So because we don't know whether it is or not. You can choose not to believe that, and that's perfectly fine, but it still doesn't take the fact away that it could be possible. So that's why I try to keep that open for myself.
Yeah, and I think too, I definitely believe in reincarnation. I remember several of my own past lives. I help people at times with their past lives and remembering. I don't do it all the time, but I can do it. And, I also, just from the experiences of looking at other people's past lives, is, I believe that we are constantly being reincarnated. You may have some layover time after you pass before you are again. Your soul, is going to transcend. But the thing of it is we've all been good and we've all been bad. And I think that this is my belief. And I have nothing to back it up on. I'm the first to say that.
It's just what you feel. Yeah.
Right. From doing past lives for other people. But the thing of it is free will. We were all given free will. God gave us that. And so how do you know if you're good if you've never been bad?
Right.
And how do you know you're bad if you've never been good? And everybody has the free will to choose. And so, you're recycled over and over again. And it doesn't mean that you're recycled 20 minutes after you pass. It doesn't mean that it's 20 years. It could be 20 days. It could be 200 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no point of time there. But the point is that when you come back, you have that free will to choose.
Yeah. It's growth. Apparently, this is another thing that the woman that had this near-death experience had said. She said that she was shown that people are brought back, that they actually they're asked if they want to come, and they choose to, that we actually choose to come, and that's how our soul grows, and that's how we're tested by God. Like, he has to, in a sense, bring us here to be mortals in order to test our souls.
Right. And it's possible.
But it's all a growth thing, though. So we can choose to come back, and some people may not choose. So
right.
And I don't know if that's possible either. But I was just kind of throwing that out there, that maybe there's people that choose not to come back. Like, I know for one thing, if I get to heaven, this is my last trip here. I can tell you that, right? I am so done with this crap down here. And I keep telling God, I was like, I want you to show me this conversation I'm having with you right now, where I'm telling you I do not ever want to come back here. So just remind me of this. But it's just, you hear so many of these experiences, and then you find out, like I've said in many of my podcasts, there's been how many books removed from the Bible, how much has been hidden from us, how much our government's covered up. We have the what we've been shown and taught has been an agenda politically. Basically politically, it's been about power. and just control.
Yeah.
And we don't know all that there is that, about God or anything. There's just
Yep.
so much. But I just, just something I wanted to tell you about this near-death experience.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating to me.
Well, I am headed back to Michigan on the 14th. I'm
Mhm.
really excited. I will be gone for 2 weeks. I had never anticipated being gone that long. Obviously, we know that, I want to move back, and I'm planning on
Yeah.
moving back, and then I'm planning on dragging you there.
I know.
But I can't wait. We're gonna have so much fun.
I
But
know.
I really like the places I can take you, dear Lord. But anyway, you're gonna get more cryptid activity than you ever thought of.
Oh God.
But anyway, I mean, here
This podcasting constantly.
I know
I'm like,
it's like
you guys
I
aren't
already,
gonna believe this. What happened?
yeah. I always had it in Michigan. I've had it here. Everywhere I live, it happens. So it's going to happen. But anyway, I am going to be doing some work there out in the woods, and then I'm going to be looking at a couple places for
Mhm.
us, and with some acreage, because the big guy's got to have room.
Yeah.
And then a family reunion. So originally I was supposed to go the first week of the month for 5 days, and then 5 days or 6 days towards the end of the month. But it just, the way things worked out and didn't work out. And so I go there on the 14th, and my friend Chad, who is the one that had invited me there for this, unfortunately got hurt, and he's in the hospital. So I'm hopeful that he will be out by then. But if not, the gentleman that is doing the filming and some other researchers will be there. So I'm hoping I can, crash with all those guys and do that.
When
And
you're
then,
done with all that, you're coming here.
well, no, end of July, me.
Yeah.
Because Pat's got to have surgery the 13th of July. So he'll be down for about a week.
Okay.
So like end of July, we need to plan that, because I've already talked to him about it. So we're good to go.
Okay. We're gonna go do some hunting in the woods, guys, and probably take video.
Yep,
Of
definitely.
doing some, and that'll be more stuff that we
Yeah,
all do this.
there's a few areas up in the mountains there that are just not safe.
Right.
Like up in the mountains of
So of course
Pennsylvania,
that's where we'll go.
Yeah, no, I got attacked up there.
Oh, great.
I'll get the name. Yeah, I'll get the name of the little town. This town was so tiny. There was a pizza place, a gas station, and a motel. That was it. That was the whole town.
Yeah.
And we pulled in to eat. I might have already told you this. We pulled in to eat at the pizza place, and there was nobody in there. They had locked the doors, but they weren't shut down yet. And there was this person. He looked to be like in his early 20s, sitting at the table. And as soon as I saw him, I got just the most creepy feeling. And we pulled up into the parking spot, and my friend that I was there to visit said, let's find out if they're open. And this thing turned around and looked at me. And as soon as it locked eyes on me, I knew it was Reptilian. And I looked at her and I went, oh shit, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
Like, this thing didn't just look at me, it tried to connect with me.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm in deep shit. So we pulled out of the parking lot and went across the street to the gas station, because they also had pizza at the gas station. So we went over there and we were getting something to eat. And this thing left the restaurant and walked directly across the street and made a beeline towards us. And I'm not kidding you. I have never, just by seeing something, ever felt that kind of terror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was calm, but it was bad. And he walked in, and he walked over by where the drinks were at, and he just stood there and stared at us. So we got up and left and drove over to the hotel, which we had a room there. And I was like, I don't know, it was nighttime. We had spent all day long up in the mountains and going around. And I was like, I don't even for 1 second want to even get out of this car to go in there.
Well, what were you thinking though? Like, what? I mean,
well,
it
was so creepy. Like, it was really creepy. And so we got in there, and there were 2 beds there. She was in one bed, I was in the other.
Mm-hmm.
And we each had a can of soda sitting on the nightstand, and she got in bed and she fell asleep.
Right.
I knew better.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this thing was gunning for me, and I knew it. And I'm like, I can't go to sleep. I've got to stay awake. And right before she went to sleep, she said, did you hear that? It sounds like it it is climbing the wall.
Mm-hmm. Hang on, sorry guys, we had a few glitches there where it kind of is pausing a little bit, so just hang in there. Okay, go ahead, Robin.
How's
Sorry.
that? Is that better?
Yeah, it just like when you're talking, it's kind of like glitchy. But no, you're good though. Go ahead.
So anyway, like I said, she thought it was climbing the walls. I said, yeah, it sounds like it. And so she laid down and she got knocked out. She was out cold. And I was like, I got to stay awake. I'm waiting for this hit, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm laying there. Next thing I know, I'm completely paralyzed. And something grabs my leg and starts pulling me off the bed. And I'm like, I could see something like cloaked at the end of the bed, but I couldn't
Yeah.
see really to get specific about it. And I couldn't scream. And I finally got my arm free to hit the pop can and it fell on her. And that's what woke her up. And she's grabbing me and grabbing me by the arm and trying to pull me back on the bed. It was a nightmare. But yeah, there's some spots up there. You know, a lot of them
You
are
don't know
fine,
what
but
you don't know what town it was though.
I'll find out from her before I come. I'll find out. She's,
Okay.
you know, we weren't by her house.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows the areas. She knows that state, frontward, backward, sideward, you name it. There's
Yeah.
not one place you can't find there. She knows every square inch of it. She's been on every square inch of it. So
I want you to go to Red Rock with me. What I'm interested in, guys, is that my daughter had a little people sighting up in Red Rock when they were swimming. That's where I especially want to take you.
yeah, I saw there's some that they call the Stoneheads. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever heard of that?
I mean, I've heard of different things. I'm not sure about that one.
This was called the Stone. I thought she said it was the Stoneheads, and actually
Okay.
one of them had fallen. But we went there and we saw the Fae there. We saw the
Wow.
Bigfoot there too, but yeah.
Okay, now tell me, this is something that's been really, you just kind of said this so natural and in passing and so quick. And I'm like, Robin, like, I want to know more information. You said the other day, you said, I told you that I had been feeling a little better, like that I'm not as having as many reactions to cardboard and stuff like that, like my allergies.
Yeah,
And you said to me, you stopped for a second, you paused, and you said, a Bigfoot's helping you.
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I want to know more information. Is there anything else you got from this and how did
Well,
you do this? And
you know, here's the thing. They have their laws and they have their culture. In eons ago, it was they were not allowed to interfere in our lives. We were not allowed to interfere with theirs. They aren't allowed to interfere with ours. Countless times they have, you know, come in to help us.
mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, I just put the word out like she needs help, guys. You know, who's ever out there, the closest healer, you need to get there and help her.
Okay.
And they said they would see that it was done. I don't think it's Matthias. He hasn't claimed that he did it. So I don't think it's him. I know it's not Brownie's mom because she usually stays here because lately it seems like I need it all the time.
Oh yeah.
But there is one they said that they sent. So
Okay.
definitely.
I just wondered, I've been doing grounding, like I've been doing that, putting my feet on the, like you go outside. I've talked about this before, guys. You go outside and you don't wear shoes at all. Okay. You cannot wear
Yep.
shoes. You have to have bare, it's earthing. They call it, I have an earthing mat too, like a grounding mat I sleep with. But anyway, so I've been going outside and just doing this earthing and,
Yeah. And,
about half a day,
get your bare feet on the ground.
Yep.
The earth is the biggest energizer battery there is. And just
True.
imagine in your mind of it coming from the earth up through the bottom of your feet and filling all the way up your body until your entire body is filled all the way to the top of your head.
Okay.
And people would be amazed when they do it correctly, how much lighter and better they feel. I've
Yeah.
had people that have got serious mental health issues that are borderline suicidal to suicidal. And they've done that and they've gotten such relief from it.
Yeah, I think it's doing something for me. I really do.
Yeah, it does. Now, like, if you're in these areas where it's snow covered or whatever, and obviously, you can't freeze your feet off and you're on snow and ice anyway, go even if you have a concrete porch, a concrete basement, whatever is under that concrete, as long as it's dirt.
Mm-hmm.
If there's dirt under it where it's up against the concrete, not inches off of it, but it's sitting on that dirt, you can pull it through the concrete. It takes a little more oomph, but you can.
Watch the movie on YouTube. Go to the movie called The Grounded.
And it is amazing. You will learn everything you need to know about what we're talking about through that. It's a documentary thing, so it's really good. But I have been doing that, trying to do it every day for at least a half an hour. I even have Tristan doing it with me. And we just sit outside and talk, and we ground. So
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I haven't done it in a while. And I told Pat, I'm definitely feeling that something is trying to drain my energy.
Mm-hmm.
That normally happens when things are doing things that they're not supposed to, and they don't want me trying to stop it.
Yeah.
So they drain my energy, so I don't pay attention to it. And I told Pat yesterday and again today, I'm like, I got to get back out there and start pulling the energy from the earth, because at this point it's tapping me out. This is normally, when it comes to paranormal work, for whatever, if it's from the Bigfoots or whatever, all of a sudden I've got all this energy, and I can go up and down these mountains that I normally couldn't walk if I wanted to. And lately I have literally been so drained. But like I said, I have not bounced back from COVID well. And I've had on and off complications from when I had that, because I had prolonged long-term COVID. And so that is what it's been attributed to. And I told Pat, I said, I don't buy it for a second. Yeah. Because I think there's too many things going on, and we are working on some situations right now that I'm sure some of the bad stuff would prefer that I was not working on.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks to be them. Whether or not we can do anything, we'll see. I never say never. And I also don't get cocky and say, we can do this. It's no big deal. There's somebody in our group, and he's always talking, and he's like, yeah, well, why everything doesn't just surrender? We're ahead of the game. And he's such a wonderful human being. I really, really think the world of him. And I'm like, listen, don't get cocky, because it's not that simple at all. And why are they going to surrender when they've got a leg up on everything, Right. So we will see how it goes. I always have faith that it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. At the end of the day, I do believe that good is always going to win over evil, but there's always a cost, and it's never easy. And my thing is that we're grateful when we succeed, but we also have to understand that there's a cost to it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us pay more dearly than others, so we will see. Like I said, I need to get my paranormal ass in gear, so to speak, because I think when I got so sick with COVID and then getting better from COVID, I was so unbelievably weak. And then I had 2 back-to-back conferences that I enjoyed immensely, but I was not physically as
ready,
strong as I just wasn't strong. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't strong as I normally am. And I came back from that, and that just totally, like I had so much fun, and I would do it again in a minute, but I was very tired when I got back. And then there was a lot going on here, and I was dealing with that. And then, all the paranormal stuff on top of it. So I need to excuse my language, folks, but I need to get my paranormal ass back in gear, because there's like major booty to kick, and I need to get things organized. And I appreciate that the cryptids have, behaved themselves, so I don't have to do a whole lot for them. But there's some other factions that need to be addressed. And I've been working with a lot of people, like I was down for 9 weeks, and it was really difficult, because I try to help as many people that want to honor me with a phone call, because like I said, for me, it's an honor when people ask me to help. I really look at it as a blessing and an honor that people want to talk to me, or even want to listen to anything I have to say, or take me into their lives and into their trust to talk to me. So I don't take that lightly. I feel like there's a huge responsibility to that. And, I take it seriously. And so because I was down for 9 weeks, coming off of it, I was like, I want to get to everybody that I can. And I was, and people have been so incredibly kind and generous to me, as far as understanding that some days I can do it and some days I can't. They've been super understanding. And then my mother got sick and was in the hospital and was in bad shape. So then I had to cancel, some meetings that I was working with different people for that. One I'm going to meet with a girl tomorrow. She's just the dearest thing. I absolutely love her. She's so sweet. And I have to say, I got the kindest message the other day from somebody, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't do that to people. She will never know what her message meant to me. Like, she started this out. I helped her with some things that, again, it's personal, so I'm not going to go into the details, but she sent me this beautiful message, and she said, first of all, I want to thank you for saving my life. I bawled like a baby. I'm not even going to lie. And I looked at Pat and I said, and this is why I do what I do. Like, I don't care how tired I am. I don't care about any of it.
Yeah.
This is why I do what I do, because if it matters to one person, and I don't think I'm this great thing. I really don't. You know me. I don't have enough self-confidence to have an ego. But the thing of it is I believe firmly, everybody, if you have the ability to help anybody, you should.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what's wrong with our world is we don't help if we can. And I don't charge for anything. I'm never going to. But my thing is that, somebody's wallet and bank account should not determine if they get help.
I know.
And you shouldn't make money off of other people's sorrow.
Right.
That being said, people have gifted me before and totally blown me away with that. Like, just totally knocked my socks off. I was like, you really don't have to do that. But
yeah.
And it was so appreciated. But like I said, I don't charge people. I don't, I think for me, I would feel like a show pony, and I would feel like I have to perform. And the truth is if I can help, I help. If I can't get the information that they need, I can't get the information they need. And I don't ever want to disappoint anybody. So, I am perfectly happy just doing it this way.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me, I do.
Of
which, I wanted to mention, you were telling me about a book line that Melba had. Is that
oh my God, it's so great. Yes.
Yes, I wanted you to mention it.
Befriended. And did you ever get on the link to get it?
I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm going to. I just have to see when I have time to read it.
Yeah.
So
no,
as soon as I have some time to read it.
It is I think it's 5 books she's got done now. It's a series. It is absolutely incredible. If you like Twilight, this is going to blow you off your butt. I'm not kidding you.
This so it's called Befriended. The whole line
is it's called Befriended. It is about a relationship between a human and a Sasquatch. It is pure fiction. It is not true. Let's put that out there.
Okay.
And it does have a lot of paranormal abilities in there that they have. And it's just incredible. Like,
who's the author? What's the author she has herself listed as for it? Do you know?
I don't know. I think she's got it listed under her own now. Anybody that is interested in it can contact you, so you can hold of me and I'll get them the link. Or I sent you the link. You can move that on. Yeah, it's just tremendous. I mean, it really is. It's a series of 5.
I got it. It's Befriended by M.S. Ketchum.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And it is, after the study was over and all the stuff was going, everybody was attacking her, she just decided to stay home with her animals. And she is a very creative person. She's not one that can sit and do absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And so she just started writing just for the sheer joy of writing. And I was very blessed. She sent me the PDF when it got done, and she's like, read it and tell me what you think. And I was like, oh my God, I was so blown away. So I got that one done. And I'm like, okay, great. I need book 2. And she's like, well, I'm working on it. I'm like, no, I need it now. Like, I really have to. And I drove her nuts.
Yeah.
And she
ended up, you guys, she's the one who did the study, and you can tell, the rest of it. I don't know every detail like you do, but she had written these books. And so
she did. It's absolutely incredible. And she is also now starting her own clothing line, Sasquatch wear. Yeah. In fact, oh my God, she's got such cute stuff. And so
where do you get this stuff though, Robin? Is it like, can you get it on?
No, she just posted the new logo design for it. on her wall on Facebook, and she's getting it up and running. So I will let you know when it's ready to go. That you might be able, I don't know if it's where you can get to it yet. I will find out and let you know. But yeah, I saw some of the things for it. Absolutely tremendous. Like just
So
really incredible.
basically you can contact her on Facebook too, and
Oh yeah.
if you want a book or if you want, anything, because
Yep, just post it on her wall.
Yeah, she's a friend, so we're just mentioning, this, we're not profiting off of this in any way.
Oh
We're
no, not at all.
getting
Not at
info
all.
out there for a friend
Not
that
at
she's
all.
got this
Yeah.
cool stuff she's
No,
doing.
but
So.
and I wouldn't endorse it if I didn't like it either. So
Yeah,
that, but I've read all 5 books.
Okay.
Like if it was up to me, I'd never let her out of a chair. I'd make her keep writing because she's incredible.
That's
Just
awesome.
oh my God. Oh my, they're so good. That's the thing. And it's really bad because it's like people are like, well, yeah, she's a friend of yours. That's why you say no, literally. I don't care who she is. I would love these books.
Yeah.
So it really is good. And it just gets better.
I have to get that book, and my dad wanted me to get this other book about healing. Gosh, what was it called? I can't remember. I'll have to say the next time I'm on a podcast, but it's something about, reasons why you're not healing. And it's like this one author, I'm thinking he was like the medic, like the medical.
I wonder if they talk about the paranormal stuff that stops you from healing.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what I'm grasping from my dad about it. I'm like, wait a minute, is it that? Hang on, I'm just bear with me a second. I'm just gonna look this up because I want to mention this too. Like I said, this channel is for us to all, learn information.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not about entertaining people and, being all professional and worried about my, awesome sound system. And like, that's not what I'm here about. That's not what this is for. So, I'm not, some of the stuff you hear, it's like, God, just, I'm just trying to share my information. So it's by the Praying Medic. And okay, that's prayer videos. Wait, does that sound right? He sent me, it looks like it's called Healing Prayer, and it's by the Praying Medic. So if that's not the only one, I'll let you know next time I'm on. But that's the one he had sent me. So that's supposed to be something that helps you with if you're not like if you're being. Hang on, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's because I had X'd out of the program to find that information from Dad, and I think it cuts me off when I do that. So
okay.
So yeah, but I think it's just stuff that, I'm just sharing things that I'm finding along the way, and I feel like we get led into information that we need, and I just like to share it.
And for the record, Nico's quiet.
Yeah, I can see.
Do you know what I did?
What did you do?
I put a sheet over his cage so he can't see the phone.
God, I know.
Normally, it doesn't normally work. Normally, if the sheet's on, he could care less, but he can't see the phone. That's what it boils down to. He hasn't made a peep all day long, and I have him positioned where he can see anywhere in this house. The only thing he can't see is in the deep part of the kitchen. He can see all the other rooms. He hasn't made a peep all day long.
He's funny. He was so cute, though, his little voice.
He's a riot. He can sing, he can oink, he can bark, he can meow.
Your whole house is an animal factory. It's birds.
We have species identification issues here. Let me tell you what, nobody knows what the hell they are.
Maybe that's why all the aliens are visiting, because they just feel like they want to be part of it too.
That's like one of the group. Yeah, and a real good friend of mine is so funny. He's going to a UFO conference to speak in, I think he said Virginia this weekend. And so I said to him, I said, do you want to take my UFO pictures? And he's like, oh my God, I forgot about those. I'm like, for whatever reason, people, well, again, all the credit goes to my son-in-law, Ryan, because I'm not the one that took those. He took those. He was already filming when I got out there.
Yeah, that was wild, guys.
So I always
have that up. I have that.
I always make sure he gets full credit for that, because that was not me. And he was kind enough to let me use it. And so I said to John, I said, do you want to take? He's like, oh my God, I forgot about that. I said, well, I've got stills, because I made stills off of the video that Ryan took. And he's like, well, yeah, but he said, could I use the video? I said, I'm fine with that. Ryan had said whatever I wanted to do. He didn't care. So he's got the video. I'd already sent it to him to look at, and I sent the stills over. And then as I'm going through, because he said, send me the stills too. I said, okay. I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, UFO over a portal. Oh, ET laying in the grass. Oh, beam coming down from a ship onto my bedroom. Oh.
No, you can see it on the video. Like, you can watch this, and it's on.
Yeah,
you guys
can
get
watch
on
it spin.
Facebook. It's on the In the Dark page on
Well,
Facebook.
you know what? Apparently, it's getting a lot of talk because in positive. But my friend Duke Sullivan, who owns and runs World Bigfoot Radio, and he was doing a couple of podcasts. He was either I think he was listening to them or he was on them. I don't know. But anyway, they were talking about it.
Yes, podcasters do listen to other podcasts.
Yes. He said too he would come on the show with you.
Yeah, I want him. You know, Ron Morehead's coming on. We've talked, and we're trying to set something up for a few. I told Ron, I said, this is not going to be a one-time occurrence with you, Ron. I think this is going to be probably, you know, like, I'd like to have you on, and then as you go, like, if you're still doing research and stuff, I want to have you back on, you know. So
I tell you what, here's the thing about Ron. Ron has just, you know, because I read energy, we know this. He has some of the kindest, most wonderful energy ever. Like, and he's just, I met him in Siberia. I had not seen him for years. And then again, I saw him in Nebraska. I've talked to him several times since then. He is truly a delightful human being. I mean, obviously he's famous for the Sierra Sounds, which as far as I'm concerned, cannot be beat. We will never have vocals as good as those, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, he deserves just an enormous amount of credit for what he did there. But just as an actual person, he is delightful. He really and truly is. And right now, I've been trying to get some flyers and things out for him to help get him booked for 2023, because he's just a huge draw for people. He is highly, highly skilled, highly intelligent. The Sierra Sounds, I literally could listen to him over and over again. I mean, they're just incredible. They really and truly are.
I love his voice. Ron is such a great voice.
He has a very calming voice.
You listen
and I've not met his wife yet. I've heard she is absolutely as wonderful as he is. And they are just so, my understanding from what other people have told me is they're just totally in love with each other, which I think is wonderful. And I'm very anxious to meet her. Like I said, I've not met her, but I've heard wonderful things about her. And Ron, I met for the first time. I knew him before. I didn't know him. I knew of him before I went to Siberia. Met him in Siberia, him and John Bendernagel. And just John, of course, is amazing. And God rest his soul. We lost a lot when he passed away. But I met him with Ron in Siberia. And I had not talked to Ron again until right before the conference in Nebraska. So I feel very blessed that, you know, I could reconnect with him, because he's just a super person. Like, you know, the thing I like about Ron is he's genuine.
You can feel it. You can hear it. You know,
that's the thing.
We message back and forth. He's a sweetie. You know,
he is, but he's genuine. He's as legit as it comes. And he's just a good human being. And I think our world is just so crazy right now that it's always very refreshing to just meet a good human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm so glad he's gonna be on the show. Like I said, Duke said he'll come on, email him and let him know a time and date, and he can do that. We have 2 or 3 more people that Duke knows that we will get hold of to get them on.
I have a whole lineup right now. Like, I've got, you know, and I'm so sorry, because I've been so busy between, you know, my grandson and then just family. I have such a big family. I've got 5 kids and 5 grandchildren and other extended kids that I've basically took in, and, you know, business and a house, and it's just one thing after another. I'm like,
well, when you get ready. And the other person that I would really recommend is Christy Sci-Fi. She's phenomenal. She also was at the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference. Super sweet girl. Super sweet. You can check her out on World Bigfoot Radio. Duke had her on there too. He taped the conference that he did, I did, and Christy did. So they're on 3 different segments, as well as Harriet McFeely, who owns the Bigfoot Museum in Hastings, Nebraska, and she did the conference. And he's got a show of hers on there. So yeah.
Okay.
Really, yeah, all really great people. Like I have to be honest and tell you, the last couple of years, I have met the best people in my life. Like I really have. Like I feel so blessed because I've met so many amazing people, and it's been really good.
That's neat, isn't it? Like, I know I've met so many nice people too. Like, I've talked to people and I'm just like, wow, it's amazing how, this kind of leads you into just meeting such incredible people.
I know,
I just
and
can't get over it. It almost feels, when this is going on, you feel like there's a reason this is going on, like that we're all
there
being
is.
connected.
No, but there
You
is,
know?
because here's the thing. We've talked about the big battle before, and what we
Mhm.
feel the big battle is completely different than what the cryptids think it is. And then there's all these things that are going on, and it goes much deeper than what we've ever even thought of. And, that's come to light, I would say within the last 60 days, that it is so much deeper than what we originally had thought we were up against. But what I do know is the last year or two, it's been like, I don't believe anything happens without a reason, and I don't believe in a coincidence. And
Right.
it's almost like they're assembling the troops.
Yeah, that's how it feels. It really
Yeah,
does.
and it really does. And I met a lot of people that once I meet them, I'm told, you were supposed to meet them. This is the reason you need to get them ready for this and this and this and this and this. And that's basically what it is.
How comforting to be part of all that. When you think about it, it's like, geez, I just want to be left alone and live a normal life.
What is that? Is that happen? Are there really people that have that?
Be a warrior and fight some great battle. Like, what
Oh my
is
God.
this?
I know. It's like, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us in this nice little group now that, we're trying to do all these things. And of course, there's hundreds of thousands of others like us out there. We aren't the only ones by any means, but, we are our own little group at this moment. And, we've got several people that are on standby should we need the assist, which is always good to have. And
that's exactly right.
yeah, so it's a good thing. And my friend, I have a very good friend that works with Pat and I, and so the heavy stuff we'll go in there and do, and now we're getting some others that are helping us with it, so that's always pleasant. And we do what they tell us to do. We don't go off half-cocked. We don't go off on our own. Everybody's important. There's nobody that's more important than the other one. It doesn't matter what role you play, it's still a role.
Right.
And it's like you can have this 500-piece puzzle box and you can be the most important piece there in the center one, but if you don't have the other 499 pieces, it doesn't mean anything. So I work with the belief that everybody, regardless of what they're doing, is every bit as important as the other one.
Yeah, I know.
The law of Ra, law of one,
Jeez.
as a collective as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. I just feel that, like my dad, we were talking the other day, and he said that, he was worried about like bringing darkness into my life through doing stuff like this. And I said, no, Dad. I said, this is something that I feel that the Lord actually has led me into to do. I said, you have to understand that there's a lot of creatures and stuff that, we were warned about. We were warned about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody really ever put a face to it. They just said, they heard, the word demon, or they heard the word entity, or they heard, whatever, the term is you want to put to it. I said, but this is something that needs to be told to people, and they have to understand that we are in a battle. And, I just feel like the work that I'm doing is something that's good, and it's going to help people and help people to protect themselves and such.
Well, and I think the thing of it is at the end of the day, these things exist. These things are out there, and to turn a blind eye to it does not change that. And to not have the knowledge to understand what they're doing and not assume that everything is a violent act, because it isn't. They do things differently. I mean, some are aggressive, of course. So are we.
Right.
I'm more fearful of our people than I am any of theirs. But
it's just their abilities. Like, we need to
But the
there's
thing of it is they're not going to be used as a weapon against us if we have respect for them and stay away from them. Now, the bad ones, I'm not going to say they wouldn't. They would. That's why they're bad. Any more than the people that we have in our species that are bad, use guns and kill small children while they're at school.
I know.
I mean, look at that
We need to
tragedy.
know what they're capable of. It's like we need to,
We need the information.
yeah,
We absolutely need the information. And we need to learn the other thing. And this is one of the things that they wanted me to come out with and talk about, is the fact that their ways are not ours.
yes,
So just because we may not understand their way doesn't mean they're aggressive. I mean, I get people all the time that contact me and they're like, it yelled at me.
yeah,
Okay, you were in its home. If you walked in my front door and I didn't know you, I'd yell at you too.
right,
Or it was throwing
right,
its arms up in the air and waving its arms and yelling at me. Okay, if you're in the military and you're waving your arms above your head, that's surrender.
yeah, I
So
know.
all it was trying to do was say, hey, I'm here. You've now gotten too close. Please kindly back up.
Yeah,
And the first thing I say to everybody is, did it zap you? No. Did it physically touch you? No. Did it hurt you? No. Okay, then if it wanted to, you would not be talking to me, but let's talk about what you did see and what you experienced so I can try to explain it to you.
right.
Because if you don't know, I don't blame these people. I don't feel that.
Oh no, it's horrifying. Most of them don't even know they even exist, first of all.
Right. So, I mean, I don't
You have to get
feel
past
any anger.
that.
I don't feel badly towards them because they didn't know. How are you going to know if nobody teaches you?
Yeah,
But there are things out there that will hurt you. Absolutely. But not all of them are there to hurt you. There's good and bad, just like with us.
yeah.
And we have
It's
to
really a
learn.
shame you can't tell which ones are which for humans
Yeah.
or entities. Like it's really a shame.
That's why it's so important for people to start realizing, if I can, number one, if I can do it, anybody can. But basic learning to read the energy. It's not hard. You feel it. Like if you walk by somebody, everybody will pick up a feeling if that person is really bad.
Yeah.
That's reading their energy. It's not hard. If you're sitting in a chair and you can feel somebody come up behind you, it's because you feel that change in the energy. That's reading energy.
Yeah.
You walk by a child that is smiling and giggling or whatever, and you can just feel that euphoria from being around them. It's because you're feeling that happy energy.
I know.
If you're out in the woods and you feel something negative or you feel fearful, it's because you're picking up a projection of what something wants you to feel, and that means you need to turn around very calmly and leave.
Yeah.
But people don't. I mean, I know people that go to the land between the lakes because they figure they want to experience it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. No, that's suicide. Okay. And if you're not, if you don't get hurt, it's because when you were there, they happen to not be around. But the bad things go there because they don't want to be by us. Now, it's very sad to me because innocent people have died there who never knew anything about these cryptids. They just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But then shame on our people for not keeping it posted and not allowing people to come there. They shouldn't be allowing people to camp there. This territory has been staked out. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, if all the bad stuff wants to be in one spot, corral their asses there, let them stay there and keep us away from it, because at least we know where they're at.
Yeah, create a commune for them and just make sure they're there.
Why would you want them spread out where anybody could have contact?
I have no idea.
If that's where they want to be, let them park their happy little asses right there and just stay away from them. Like, it doesn't have to be our people getting killed. We are not a match for these things. Taking a gun and trying to kill them, guess what? With their abilities, if you have one that is part of a clan that uses paranormal abilities, those guns are not going to help you at all.
Worthless,
if you have a clan that is like an Amish would be for us, they don't use the abilities, where they say just in flesh and blood, you might have a chance. But if you can even nail one, there's others around.
I know.
So it's, like Justin Smija, he killed the two. How he got out of there alive, I don't know, other than there was another one that got wounded in that and they got him out of there, and I think they were more focused on that. But they're going to torment him till the day he dies. They'll play head games with him, which is really sad. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. I don't care to know him. what I think should have been done with him is never going to happen,
Yeah.
But that's not my call. Like I said, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him other than what was done, and the Bigfoots are the ones that told me all about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I later, some of the information that I had was information that was not public. I later talked to someone that knew him and confirmed that what I was told was accurate. In fact, they were amazed with what I knew.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, that was Justin's. And I'm like, all I know is they're showing me pictures of it,
Wow.
And so, but again, I'm not going to sit here and trash him because I don't know him. My only problem that I have with him is what he did.
Yeah.
But
that's, there's also that, how can you blame humans when they don't know enough about these beings? They've never been told anything. I don't know anything about this guy you're talking about, but
well, the
I'm
thing
saying
of it is if you don't know what they were not in a situation where they were threatening them.
Oh, that's ignorant then. Well,
Yeah,
that's just that hunter.
They had been putting food out for months, and they came around the corner in a truck with their guns out looking for him.
You're kidding.
And they killed an adult male, and they also killed one of the children that was a twin.
Oh, Robin.
And yeah, Melba tested the sample of flesh in the study. But the thing it is, like I said, I don't have anything. I don't personally know him. I'm not going to sit here and attack his character or anything other than I don't agree with what he did.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is this was not in self-defense. This was a calculated murder. And that's just the bottom line. If you don't know what something is just because you don't know what it is, you don't kill it so that you can put it up on a wall.
Yep. What happened to the bodies? Well,
it depends on if you go by the Foot's version or Justin's. According to the Foots, he had the baby. What he did with it, I don't know. The male would have been too big for them to move without any type of special equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told a story of all these things that went on with it. That's between him and God. I don't know. I just know what the Foots have shown me and told me. But anyway, part of the flesh from the adult male was sent to Melba for the study. Later, Justin and his team tried to recant and say it was bear when it was tested, and it did come out conclusive that it was a Bigfoot. So, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Like I said, I don't know any of those people. I don't wish them any harm, and I'm not going to sit there and slander them. I have my own personal opinions of it, but yeah. So it was not a good thing. Not a good thing. And it happened, more than a few years ago now, but because it was back, oh my God, it's been a long time because they used the flesh in the study.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, it was sad. And I've talked to the members of that clan since, and, they've cleared out of there. So, but yeah, it was not good. But I mean, again, there was no reason for it. They weren't under attack.
Yeah.
The little kid was a twin.
Oh, Robin.
And
sad. I mean, it's just sad.
Justin was holding it when it died. I mean, why?
Wow.
It was senseless. There's no reason. It was murder.
He's a special kind of person. He just wanted to murder him.
I think he thought, and this is just my own impression. This is not because anybody said anything or that Justin said anything or claimed anything. He's a hunter. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I think and this is just my own observation and opinion, not because anybody's told me that. Certainly nobody from Justin's camp, because I don't know any of them. I think he probably thought, like a lot of people do, it's just another animal out in the woods, and it'd make a great trophy.
Wow.
Something nobody's seen before.
Mentality sometimes, man. That stuff is just, it's so destructive. It's like I just don't, I can't wrap my mind around the way they process things. I just don't, I don't understand it,
Yeah, but again, I don't know his motives. I don't know anything about it. That was just my own thought.
That kind of motive where you just want to kill just to kill, just for a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
And again, I don't know anybody in his team, so I'm not saying that that's accurate. That's just my thoughts, my point of view, or, my opinion. I've never spoken to the man. I don't have any desire to.
Yeah.
And so what his motives were, that's between him and God. I don't know. I really don't know. I know what I've heard in private conversations, but not from him or his camp. And I know what my own opinion is, but like I said, I'm not going to slander him because I don't know what his thoughts were. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know anything like that. So I know what the Bigfoots told me. I know what they showed me.
What
They
was his
showed me
reaction after he did it, though? Did you hear what, was he just all proud of himself that he'd killed him and excited to,
I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any idea. Different things I saw him on TV. He looked pretty happy with himself,
wow.
but that doesn't mean he was, that's what it looked like and appeared
What
to
did the
me.
foot show you?
They just showed him coming around the corner, him and his friend in a pickup or vehicle, and the male came out waving his arms. My guess is to distract them from the twins they were playing, and he shot the male and he shot the one twin. Now the Foots say that an elderly male ran out as well and was shot. I've never heard any mention of that from Justin's camp. I don't know if it was a stray bullet. I don't know anything about that. I just know that that's what the Foots claim, and they claim that they helped get the older one out of there, and that the male that Justin shot was the leader of that clan and the father of the twins.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So, but that's just what they said. That's not anything I've heard from anybody other than the Bigfoot.
I gotcha. Wow, Robin.
So like I said, I'm not trying to contradict what anybody says or anything like that. That's just what they said. So
it's it's rotten stuff.
It is. I mean, but in all fairness to Justin, I don't believe when it happened, and again, I've not talked to anybody there, but I don't believe in my heart that he thought they were part human at the time.
Right.
I believe he thought they were just an animal.
Even so, you got an animal standing there with their two children. I mean, who kills something like that? Like, how
I
do you
know.
take
I still wouldn't have done it. And you don't know what it is. If you don't know what it is, why the hell are you shooting it? So I don't know. Like I said, the only one that would know that is Justin and his camp. And I don't
kind
know.
Of brute for that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, that stuff just really rubs me the wrong way, and I don't care how you can spend it.
I don't know him. I think, and I want to say this and become the most hated woman in America, but I think from the one show I saw, he did act like he was slightly remorseful, but whether or not that was just for the TV show or not, I don't know. And I don't, when he did it, he did not know what it was, but the whole thing was calculated. It was set up. It was not accidental, and his story has changed several times. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to claim to know because, I wasn't there and I've never talked to anybody in his camp. So
I've never really understood how hunting equates to trickery and luring things in and wearing scents of animals and turkey calls, and like, to me, like, that's not hunting. That's that you're tricking animals, or you're just somewhere waiting.
And the thing of it is, most of my kids hunted, but I will say this: they ate what they hunt.
That's right.
If there's a deer head or whatever, then that's fine if they want to mount it. But it's after they've eaten everything.
Right.
They hunt for food just like our forefathers did. And I'm not a hunter. I don't like the taste of wild game, and my heart breaks. So I couldn't eat it anyway, but I have respect for the people that do hunt. If they are hunting because they're using the food to feed them or their family, or donating it to someone that can eat the meat, I have the utmost respect for that.
More natural. Like, there's people that they don't want to eat all the crap that, gets pumped into our meats and stuff.
Right. I mean, it's not any different than we go to this, I always tell everybody, I want my meat like God intended it, under cellophane,
I just honestly though, like, it's that other flip side of the hunting, mentality, where you're killing for sport.
Yeah, I can't agree with that at all.
I don't agree with that.
And
it's
I don't know what kind of a hunter. Yeah, I don't know what kind of a hunter Justin is. I don't know anything about it. So I have my suspicions, but that's just my thoughts. It has nothing to do with reality. And
set him up and he killed a child with it died in his arms. I mean, get real.
Yeah.
Like, come
You know,
on.
I'm sure he was quite shocked when it happened, but I mean, you know, he still did it, and it is what it is. But yeah,
And
like my
here's the
son,
story. I've
he
never heard
works
before.
he works for the First Nations in Canada, and he hunts with the musqueams and fishes, and I would say 99.9% of his diet is hunted or fished,
Yeah.
you know, and that's fine. Not
Yeah.
one piece goes to waste, and the musqueams, what they, you know, they share it equally. They, you know, my understanding is that, you know, it gets spread around. Like my granddaughter loves salmon, and the chief brought her salmon one day. He had extra salmon, so he
God.
brought her. Yeah, she calls
My
him uncle.
favorite food in the world.
Yeah, she calls him uncle.
I love
So
salmon. I
oh, they're
love
very, very immersed in the culture there, which I think is beautiful. And they have just been, the First Nations, the Musqueams have been incredible to my son and his wife and my granddaughter.
yeah.
So very, very blessed. Very blessed. They actually live on the reservation. So
No, like I said, I think it's great. It's these people. It's just the cold-heartedness. I have a hard
yeah.
time with people that, you know, it's that cold-hearted behavior, you know, that
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
it just hurts my heart. You know, it hurts me to know that people
Yeah.
out there
Oh, I
exist,
agree.
you know.
I
It's their intent,
agree.
you know, that's what God supposedly judges us on, is our intent.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
what's in our heart, you
But
know.
the ones around here are doing good. They're loud and proud. They get quiet for a few days and then they perk back up and they're loud again. And they're so comical because, you know, I have, and we've talked about this before, I have these two big, huge pens out in the front yard of cats.
Mhm.
And most of them, I have one pen that is my unneutered male savannas, which are parts West African serval and Maine Coon. And I've got my three boys over there. They're absolutely gorgeous. They look like a black leopard with the spots. And then I
Mhm.
have another cage that has my two girls, and they're the tan with the spots. And then I have my neutered males that are just domestic. And I have one female that is the Savannah, that is the black with the spots. And they're in a separate one. So we have no babies unless I want babies. And, you know, nothing can get into these cages. I mean, the bars are very, very small. And yet I will go out there and they have these huge tubs that I keep their food in, and I'll go out there and these bowls are completely empty and filled with pine cones, and it's like pine cones can't fit through the bars, and the tops are covered, and not only with screen but also with tarps for shade for them and to protect it during they have houses in there they can get into to get out of the weather, but I also have it tarp for their comfort, for shade and rain and everything. And yet all the food's gone and they're filled with pine cones, and pine cones won't fit through the bars in there. It can't get in there, but yet something's taking the food and filling it with pine cones. And then the other day I went out there to check on everybody's water, and there's just very little water. And I was like, okay. So I thought, well, I'll get food and take it out at the same time. I go in the house to get the food. I go out and all these bowls are full of water.
Yeah.
And I thought this was quite bizarre because
It's,
yeah.
And
Yeah, and then we have this other pen. It looks like a giant hutch, like you would use. It was actually made for kittens, but you would think it was a rabbit hutch. And we were coming, Pat and I had gone into town, and we came back, and there's these three little orphan kittens, very, very tiny. Somebody dumped them out by the swamp, and they couldn't have fought a field mouse if they had to. You know, there's no way they're going to survive. Because the field mouse would kick their ass. So Pat and I, of course, got them and brought them back because they would have been taken that night by either a snake or something. So we brought them back and put them in a hutch. They walked right through the bars of the other cage. That's how tiny they were. So now we have them out there, and they're just little pistols, but their water was full too. It was like, and then I know, and I put two huge bowls of food out there, and I went out there that night to check on them, and all the food's gone.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, it was absolutely
crazy. So they give them water and they take their food.
Yeah, and they fill their food bowls with pine cones or leaves that can't fit through the bars.
Yeah, they think they're gifting them stuff back. So
they can't. Yeah, and
No,
see, I used to have,
tacos.
well, I used to have a big bowl of cat food on the porch, and Zerky, which is one of the kids, would come up there and steal it out of that. Well, now that's not there, but I have two small bowls for the feral cats. They come up on my porch and eat the cat food at night. And so I feed them during the day because at night it's anybody's guess who gets it between the
Yeah.
possums and the raccoons and the Bigfoot. So I feed them during the day. So now they're going in because the cages are closer to the trees, so they would have shade. Yeah, you never know what's going on, what you're going to find out there. But they have never harmed them, and every cat is still in the cage. Not one has been out.
So in your house, you've got like birds and pigs and tortoises.
I have oh my God, my tortoise. This is
Your
so
tortoise.
gross.
I saw the tortoise in the picture.
This is
couldn't believe
ridiculous.
you
No,
have a tortoise.
he'll be 250 pounds when he's full grown.
My God.
It's a sulcata. Pat got him for me a couple of years ago. I wanted one in the worst way, and he got him for me as a hatchling. So the tortoise is there. We've got the bird. We've got the guinea pig. We've got the two mini pigs. We've got the 4 big dogs, and we have an attached garage that they're in. And then I've got 5 old dogs. And then I've got another rescue in the house. Actually, 2 rescues in the house. And then my toy Australian Shepherd and the Golden Retriever puppy. So yeah, it's like a zoo any given time. It's a zoo.
Let's not forget, that's just inside the house. Outside the house, she's got all the cryptids running around.
I've got probably 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12 cats out there in pens.
Yeah, cats.
But you know what? The cryptids here are so good. They'll pick up the cats. They pick up the dogs. They're lovely. I've not had any issues whatsoever at all. They're forever bringing stuff to the dogs when they're playing in the backyard. They're obsessed with my Pyrenees. I told you, I went out there and I do the walk around every day to make sure that there's nothing in the pen because the backyard's fenced in, so that I know that there's nothing in there that can hurt the dogs.
Yeah.
And so I did that and everything was fine. I come in the house and I happen to look outside and I'm like, what is Freya playing with? She's our Pyrenees. I go out there. She's got a freaking 2x4. What? They gave her a 2x4.
Why?
Because she loves sticks.
Oh my God.
Our septic tank isn't in that part of the backyard. It sets off from it. And I've gone out there multiple times and they pulled all the stakes out of the septic tank and they toss them into the backyard so the dog will play with them. And so they ran out of that. So then that day I went and I walked through the whole backyard. There was nothing there other than their toys. I mean, there was nothing there. And then I look out and she's got this 5-foot long 2x4. That's proudly, proudly carrying it around the backyard. I was like, oh my God. And I can't tell you how many shoes they give them. They're always throwing shoes in my backyard so they can play with the shoes.
Shoes, I think, because they always find people are out camping and
stuff. They go to my next door neighbor. He is forever, and he has no idea about the Bigfoots. If he knows about him, he hasn't said anything. My neighbor on the other side knows because I told her, and she's seen him multiple times coming in and out of her yard and my yard. Yeah. And what they do is the guy next door, he has semis, and he's forever. Him or his kids are leaving shoes out, and they go over there and steal them, and then they put them in my backyard for the dogs to play with.
They're such thieves.
And I'm like, you've got to stop. They on the other side, the one that knows about him, they took her flower pot. I found it in the backyard over in the weeds, and I said, Gail, is this yours? And she said, oh my God, that's been gone for months. I wonder where it went to. I said, no, they just hauled it into my yard.
Just take whatever they want. They're like, yeah, whatever. This is ours. Yeah, we're just gonna move this around, and we need to have a riot with them about. In our laws, you don't steal other people's stuff.
They don't think it's stealing because they take it, but they'll leave something, whether it's a pine cone or it's a barter, as far as they're concerned.
But we don't get a choice as to what we're being
we don't. But they've been really active in the back. I've seen flashes of them walking around back there quite a bit lately. Now that it's getting really hot here, which sucks. I hate it here, but now that it's getting really hot here, they're not as active during the day. They're getting more active at night where it's cooler for them. But yeah, they're still moving around. Neighbors have seen them up and down the block. It's not like, handprints all over the cars,
I know. You've got all the pictures. I can't get over all this stuff.
I know. It's crazy. We were when we were in Nebraska, they left handprints all over Christy's car. She had a rental car and she had it out in the driveway, and I had to run to Walmart. I said, do you care if I take the car? And she's like, oh no, go ahead. So I take it and I come back and I look at there. I'm like, there's handprints all over this damn thing, all over the window and everything. So Duke goes out there and he's like, Mr. What is it? NCI. And
Yeah.
he's out there pulling fingerprints out
Oh my
off
God.
with tape. So we put it on a board. So they've got it in the museum now. But
That
it was so comical because him and Christy were going off outside on the end of the house to smoke. And our bedrooms, Harriet has her basement has 2 bedrooms, a living room, a family room, a kitchen, a dining area, and a massive bathroom because it's an apartment downstairs. And Pat and I were at one end, Duke was at the other end, and Christy was crashing in the living room on a couch. And so Duke and Christy had gone out on their end of the house and went outside to have a cigarette. Pat and I were laying in bed the opposite end of the house. And I look out the window and I watched there's a foot back there. He walked right by the window in physical form. Like I watched him walk by there. And I said, I'd say it was Duke, but it's 100% black. There's no clothing on it. And with the walk, you could tell what it was,
Right. That's funny.
They were peeking in the windows. Christy was sitting on the couch and she was cracking up because she could see him peeking in the windows.
God, that's so wild. Can you imagine seeing this huge, gigantic person with special abilities and this big hairy face looking in your windows at you?
Well, one in that picture that Pat took, that thing, it's sitting down, but it looks like it's levitating, which they levitate anyway. So I don't know why they couldn't sit down and levitate. I just had never got one on camera doing it, but that's exactly what it's doing.
Some of the pictures are so clear and others aren't, you can't quite, unless you're there,
Yeah.
you can't really tell unless somebody
Yeah.
really points it out. But some of these pictures are so clear.
I know.
Just like that UFO you guys got that video. Holy goodness.
I know. MUFON
that
went
was
crazy over it.
Thing. I bet MUFON went nuts when they saw that thing.
They did. They came back right away and said that there was nothing else in the air. It was definitely,
crazy.
It was not terrestrial. It was extraterrestrial.
Oh yeah. It's just some of the stuff. And it's like people we live in such a crazy world.
My friend Richie from Michigan came and stayed a couple months and he was upstairs and he forgot his phone cord. So at 4:00 in the morning, he comes downstairs and goes out to his car to get the phone cord, looks up and there's a UFO over my garage.
Yeah.
And Pat went one night about 11 o'clock. He just was really restless. He got up and he went for a drive and he come back and there's UFO over the garage again. I don't know what the deal is with the garage, but that's where the portal was open at that night. And that's 2 other people that have seen it. I've seen them countless times. Yeah. And they had 2 of them that were way up in the sky. And Pat and Ryan were flashing lights at them and they were responding and flashing back.
That's crazy stuff.
I'm like, what the hell? I can't leave those 2 unattended. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Outside after I had to go outside tonight at 3:00 in the morning. It was like 10 minutes of 3, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I am not going outside at 3:00. So I was like 10 minutes up, and I raced out to get some stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm in the house at like 5 minutes of 3, thinking, okay, I'm in the clear because I didn't go out right at the witching hour. So it's freaky, when you're caught.
Pat and I have watched. There's these glowing white. They're disc shaped. And they're the brightest white you've ever seen. And they come by every now and then and they skim right across the top of the trees. Like they are just hauling ass across there and they're disc shaped.
Wow. That's nuts. You need to put some cameras. Oh, wow. Something's going on overhead of me right now. Wow. I'm outside right now. That's wild.
I've had cameras out there.
You need cameras outside. Well,
I've had them. That's how I got the picture of the UFO in the portal with it opening up and a head coming out was off the cameras.
Yeah.
And then I got a video. I got to find it. I don't know where it's at now, but you could barely see them. It's really hard to see, but they were walking in between the foots were walking in between the cars and looking on the cars and playing with cars. And then I got one that looks like a bunch of hair hanging in front of the camera lens. And then they blew out. There was a camera in the backyard and a camera in the front yard, and they blew both cameras out at the same time. And so we called the company and said, both of the cameras are down. We don't know what's going on. They said, I'll send them back. So we sent them back and they replaced them. They said, these things are fried from the inside out, but they both went out the same time.
I know. It's just, this stuff is
I used
crazy.
to watch them. We had the Zomoto ones and you can put it on your tablet or your phone so you can watch it.
Yeah.
And I'd sit there and watch the foots in the front yard walking around.
That's neat.
And I watched them morph into different things. They'd be a Bigfoot 1 minute and they'd morph down and look like a raccoon and it'd scamper across the yard and then morph back up into a Bigfoot. I was like, holy crap. Just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's just, I'm telling you, I don't know. I just watched something go across the sky just now. Like that looks different. I'm just kind of looking to see what it is.
Yeah, they know we're talking about them.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we gotta go. We gotta get off, guys. I'm so sorry that we had to end this, but Robin will be back. She
Always.
always is. Yeah, it's like our little podcast we do with each
Yep,
other.
she's my bestie. I got to come back.
I know. Well, I love you. I will.
I love you too, sweetheart.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. And
you got it. I will be around.
Thanks for coming on.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. That was really just fun to talk to Robin again. I love talking to her. Really excited next week about Ron Morehead coming on. So please join us for that. If you're on if you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button so I can kind of keep a count on everybody that's joining on there. It just really gives you incentive to, keep things going. It's really great when you get comments and really, some positive stuff. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please, leave me a good review. It just really encourages us, you guys. Like any podcast that you listen to, it's always awesome to have people like and subscribe and, leave positive feedback for you. It just really gives you a lot of incentive. Sorry about some of the glitches. Whenever I talk to Robin, we tend to have a lot of feedback, a lot of glitchy stuff going on. Voices will cut in, things will, like our voices will speed up. It almost sounds like little like aliens are talking. It's some pretty, wacky stuff. And unfortunately, I just can't edit it all out. I just can't. It's almost impossible. In order for me to edit it, I'd have to, cut our voices out while we're talking, and I just can't do that. So just, bear with me with some of these channels. When you're doing this kind of work, we truly, the people that are doing it, we believe that there's governmental, interference with things. And that's what causes it, because we could be talking to 1,000 other people about mundane things and you never have it. And then as soon as you're doing this kind of, podcast or any kind of research or this kind of work, you tend to get, just all this stuff that starts to happen with it. And it gets pretty crazy. But bear with me, and I hope you enjoyed the show. At some point, I'll step this up and make it, I'll probably get a really, good quality studio and that type of stuff. But this is more, like I said, this is for, to get information out and to share what, my experiences have been, and just, teach you what I've learned. And even, just for us to all come together as a group and try to figure things out, try to kind of put our ideas together and see what we can, what we can come up with, or what we found, or whatever. But I haven't really gotten into this to do this as, an entertainment type of thing. It's more just, I just really need us to kind of, get our group going here and join forces and see what we can come up with. But I'm really happy you guys were here tonight. I love you guys all so much. And, say your prayers and stay safe, everyone. God bless you all. And I will be talking to you soon. Take care.